So here we have Arjun Rathi, a very dear friend of mine, and also one of the reasons that he's my first podcast guest. He was here early, and he's been helping us through all of this setup and everything. So he's less of a guest and more of a team member. I've known Arjun for like donkey's years now. He was an architect first, and then he slowly drifted towards product designing, and now he's like a full-time legit star of the country product lighting designer. So Arjun, uh, tell us all your journey right from where you started and to where you are.
Thank you so much for having me, Karan. It's sort of a lovely show and great initiative. Excited to see how the whole design community comes together and gets to talk about their stories.
Right.
And hopefully it inspires a lot of people.
That's the idea. Yeah.
The whole thing of starting sort of the practice was the studio started like a very typical architecture practice. You know,
Right.
you start with your first corporate building. I quit my corporate job, started one port building in Mundra,
Mhm.
and 2 months into the project, it got cancelled. So suddenly I had no work, which is very common
Sorry.
in my journey. Yeah, my architecture getting cancelled. And a close friend's birthday was sort of a month and a half away. He was a close friend of mine from college.
Mm.
I had 4 or 5 friends in college. One of
Mm.
them was around my bench.
Right.
Made a lamp for him,
Uh-huh.
and that lamp got published in a few magazines.
Oh wow.
Then it led to one custom lighting job for Ashish Shah.
Right.
And from there, he let me experiment on his projects for a good 3-4 years.
Oh wow.
To sort of, we experimented with every material, every shape, every form that we could.
Right.
And I learnt and got excited so much with this micro scale design because
Right.
architecture was just not happening. It was constantly failing, starting, stopping. And all those material experiments, I could do it with lighting and product. So that micro experimentation just gave me an immediate result. You know, as a young designer, sometimes you need immediate gratification.
Right.
And that's what product design gave, because for 2 months, 1.5 months, the project is over or you've got a result. Whereas with
I agree.
architecture, you're taking years, and the process gets frustrating when your clients take your drawings and run away. So, so that's the journey of how sort of the passion of lighting design became my mainstream around 2017, 2018. Took a lot of thought and maybe over a year of thinking to try and understand that the work I'm doing is a type of architecture. You know, even when you're taught formally architecture, it's not easy to break away from the main profession
Right.
because of the way you're conditioned. And also trying to explain to your family that not building a building is also a type of architecture. You know, it's not only about building a building. So using the experience from architecture, we applied a new process to lighting design, which sort of created our own style. We got a very architectural approach. You know, being an architect myself, I knew where clients and designers have problems at sites. So I approached the projects from that perspective. So that helped our execution out. And being able to understand space, that allowed me to experiment with custom lighting design. And that was the start.
Right.
And over time, then we started building lighting collections as we got more into lighting, as we got more into exhibitions and showcases. A lot of the feedback what I got from designers such as yourself over the past 10 years, you know, standing there, learning from people, learning how different regions of the country, different regions of the world work, what modern design means in Delhi, Calcutta, Bombay, Bangalore, which is like an ever learning process, you know. That helped me create different styles and languages with design. So briefly, the journey's just been experimenting with things, failing at things, and a lot of learning through failure, I think.
Right. So there are a couple of things that I want to take you from whatever you said right now, Arjun. One being a common mentor is Ashish, because I interned under him,
Yeah.
and today I feel like whatever I am, whatever I've learned with him in those few months, is what has helped me to reach where I am today. So tell me more about how important it is to have a mentor in life.
I think like a lot of people in your journey will come along at different parts of your life, and it's very important to accept that, like, you know. and the help or the mentorship will come on its own, provided you're looking for it or you've put it out in the like universe to manifest it, maybe, you know. So the moment you have an idea, you need some help, there'll always be a guiding force to help you succeed. Or sometimes the mentor will just help you push you into the passion, you know. So I think early on with Ashish, she helped me discover the new passion, and along that journey there have been so many people who've guided me and helped me along the way. It's just innumerable, you know. So the whole idea is that be open to listening and open to learning at every stage. Only then do you open new avenues, you know.
Right.
It would have been very easy for me to say that, hey, this lighting design is just a few experimental stages of my career and I just want to work on mainstream architecture, to the point where I've stopped mainstream architecture and shifted my field into lighting. But I'm doing it in my own way because I'm an architect, because like various mentors like Ashish, Xerxes Talati, so many of the architects in the community have given me opportunity to work on their projects, experiment, fail at them,
Right.
and learn through the process. And they also believe that Indian designers can get better. You know, all you need is opportunity. So take the opportunity, like, you know, when it comes, be in gratitude and try and help people when you get the opportunity as well, is what I say.
Right. So again, there's one more very interesting thing. But before that, so yet again, like, you know, that this podcast is, we want to make it very informative. We've got a massive young generation who follows us for the work we do or for whatever we put out. And it's so important to be okay to, like, say for yourself, you were an architect and you've drifted towards product designing, right? And I'm sure there'll be so many people who will be in a different field and would want to pursue a different field, right? So point one is, I would want to know that for anyone who is in this dilemma, okay, of wanting to follow their passion, to follow their heart, but are doing something else right now, what would you tell them? Like, what would you have an advice for them?
Well, I think the first advice would be that a lot of the advice you get at the early stage of your career won't make any sense, you know, because it took me a lot of years to figure out what I was told early on. And maybe 5 years later, you realize it of how valuable it was, or when to apply it, you know.
Right.
But I mean, the whole thing is that if you have an idea, go ahead and execute it. The worst thing that can happen is that you'll fail at it. And I think once you lose that fear of failure, for me, it started very early from college. And you lose that fear of failure. You get used to taking a certain level of risk. And where there's risk, there is reward, is what I say. You know,
Right.
so as a young designer, be open to taking risks. Don't be afraid at failing, and something great will come out of it. Because when you're so early in your like career, you can also deviate and correct the mistake. It's not that, like, you know, if I shifted to lighting design full time, if it didn't work out, I'd go back to interiors and architecture and try and make that work again, you know.
Right.
It's just that I don't feel like I'm working a day in my life because I'm passionate about what I'm doing, and that's so important to enjoy
Right.
what you're doing. And as a young professional, you want to do that. So find a company where you're passionate about what you're doing. And a lot of young professionals also need to realize that you can build great careers in the current ecosystem in India. You know, you didn't have design studios 10, 15 years back, which were doing work at international like level that is right now. You know, there are so many great studios who are doing world-class like level work. So explore building careers over there, because a lot of studios are also expanding structures. So it doesn't always have to be that you have to struggle and restart after working and build something on your own. Like, just talk to your employers, talk about what you want to do in life, how you want to grow as an individual. And most firms will be very open to adjusting with you and sort of trying to make it work, because everybody wants to grow, and I feel growing together is one thing.
Talking about failures, okay. I want to come back to the mentor part a little later, but talking about failures, that, you know, like, there are ups and downs in everybody's lives, okay, and I still do at this stage in my life and in my career, I mean to say. And I feel it is like you said, that because you're passionate, you're not working, but you're enjoying every day of your life. But failures do come. There are like rejections, and there are so many other things that happen in a person's life, which is fair because it's a part of life. And it is okay to err, like, it is okay to feel sad about it and all of that. But uh, I also feel that there is this feeling of giving up, you know so which is not like, I know people who are very passionate about it, but there's so many other circumstances, maybe family, health, wealth, everything that factors into your growth, right? So when we're talking about failures, we're talking about failures in terms of anything, in a relationship, on your health terms, on your family front, or your work front, or whatever that is. Okay. So I want to talk about that, what it was in terms of like the health, and how did you take it?
Sure. So, I mean, like, one of the key things about failure or any process is that where things are not going bad is firstly accepting it. And that's something which
Right.
even I have sometimes like difficulty because uh, I like to keep my calm a lot, and whenever I lose my cool, I feel very upset because I've not accepted a situation. So the whole idea of failing is to first to just accept it and then move ahead from it and just focus on making things better. Trying to improve upon it.
Right.
So I think that's been the main journey, at least in the professional life. I've
Right.
learned through failing at things and then learning to get better at it. On the personal front also, I think like even when you have a lot of health concerns and a lot of issues that you deal with, it's about how you mentally handle it. The first reaction of the body, right, or your mind is that when you don't get your desired result, your first reaction is to quit
Right.
at it. Like, if it's at your professional stage or at your personal stage, you don't like an experience, you don't like a process, you just want to leave it and move away from it. The whole idea is to push through it. And I think the first thing of getting over failures is that how much are you willing to push through it and how determined you are to push through it and how much
Wow.
you can just control your mind.
Right.
So even with what I recently went through with cancer, it was not even about the process of like recovering and trying to get better. It was just about there's so much I want to do and I won't have this thing slow me down. That was the whole goal. And okay, this process will keep me out of action for a set amount of time. I will just get better and then come back and do my best
Right.
at it. So I think the whole idea here is that your mind's reaction will be to run away.
Right.
Don't make it an excuse. Don't make your failure an excuse. Just make it a point to grow and get better, get stronger. And I think like we all have to shift to a healthier lifestyle at some point. So
Right.
life will give you small lessons along the way, and the lesson will keep on repeating in your professional and personal life until the lesson is learnt. So that's something what I've really like learned through this process.
Wow, like I had goosebumps just like the first time when you had told me the first day, and when we are speaking about it like right now, I feel like you've taken it so well. Okay, just for people to know that he just went through cancer. This was in Feb.
Yep, Jan is when it got detected when we went for that trip
Right.
together.
Right.
Alibag.
Trip, yes. And from and we are in October right now. He's not only conquered cancer, but also conquered, I guess, like every single aspect of a personal and a professional front. Um, uh, on that note, just tell me that when you had to go, like you said, that you have to be positive, you have to accept it, and the
Yeah.
moment you do it, things will change, right? Because it is all here. How did you manage work while going through all of this? Because I know that nobody in the industry, like at least in our fraternity, apart from like a few close friends whom you might have told, okay, had an inkling that you were going through such a rough patch, right? So how did you manage work, and how did you manage your health and recovering and all of that? Tell me.
So I think like firstly it starts with the family support that you have. My parents were super supportive. They were there throughout. My dad had cancer long back, so my mom knew like
Yeah.
the process and
Right.
everything over there.
Wow.
So all the healthcare and all was taken care of very well.
Mm.
But more so, office cannot run without our teams, and the team did a fabulous job.
Mm.
You know, they did their best to sort of
Right.
run it through and hold it together, and that's something what you need, right?
Mm.
Also, as entrepreneurs, as designers, we have to also let go of that typical perfection syndrome
Mm.
that we have. We want
Mm.
everything to be perfect, and
Right.
I think having acceptable levels of perfection is something what you tend to learn about. And I think the team handled the studio in a fabulous way and held it together till I came back.
Wow.
And even now, the whole studio runs with them, right?
Mm.
So building a great team, building or investing in great people is something which sort of got me through this. And investing time with great friends who sort of came, gave great support, that was also fantastic. I didn't have to reach out to anybody in the world for support. I knew that the 10, 15 people who I've spoken to,
Yeah.
I've informed them, I can call them for anything I need.
Right.
And that was the whole backing on it.
Mm.
And more so, there were so many things I had planned to start the year, right?
Right.
I was like, the sooner I get over it, the sooner I can get to doing those things.
Wow.
So you don't want anything wanting to slow you down, you know?
Right.
I didn't feel sorry for 1 minute when I was there.
Wow,
I didn't,
That's insane.
like I was trying to ask the doctor, can I start the treatment today? Can I start it tomorrow?
Wow.
You know, it took its own process to go through.
Yeah.
And it's you always want to get a difficult situation, how you react in it, how you try and make the best of it is what it is.
Right.
And I had even mentally prepared that even if I have to restart completely from scratch, I'm absolutely okay with it, because like I at least know where to start and what not to do, what mistakes not to do, so I can boost myself up again if needed. So I was very clear to just get better. Health is very important. So the advice to everyone would be, take care of your health, take care of your lifestyle. It hits you at some point. Yeah.